Hello and welcome to Craft a Company, the podcast. This is our second episode. I am your host, Emma, from the Writing Company, and with my co-host.
I'm Laura. I'm a chocolatier with Levoco in Weymouth.
And in this episode, we are going to go over everything with Laura and all about her chocolates and where she came from and all that kind of jazz. If you don't know what the podcast is at the moment, like go back, listen to episode 1. We go over exactly what we're trying to do, what the aim is. But essentially it is to help people and be your sort of friend when you're trying to turn your craft into a business, into a company. So let's get started with you then. So
Okay.
do you want to give a bit of a brief about you?
Sure. So my name's Laura, obviously, and I am originally from South Africa. And my mom says I was born with an itchy foot, like 1 foot out the door, had my bags packed as I came out the womb. And I literally left home at 18 and traveled extensively. I've been really lucky. I have I'm sort of like a jack of all trades and master of none, if that makes sense. I like to do a lot of different things. My mom also says I collect certificates because I love going on courses and I love,
That's so funny.
learning new things. And for a lot of my birthdays, like my friends would always, I got sent on a venomous snake handling course for one of my birthdays, and I was like, yes. So yes, I am qualified to handle venomous snakes. So there's not much I would say no to learning. And off I went traveling, had a fantastic time. And then I met my husband in Belize, so long ago, I can't remember when. And I was doing marine conservation at that time, and he came out as a volunteer. And we became friends for a long time, and then realized we weren't actually just friends. And I moved to England to be with him in 2015. And yeah, opened up a B&B and tried all different various things, and then learned how to make chocolates. And now that's my passion. And I still love to do lots and lots of different things, but I think chocolates is going to stick now for me.
So it's interesting because I've only known you since 2016, 2017. But in that
Yeah.
time, I stayed in your B&B.
Yes.
And what I would say is you, whenever you do something, you really do it. You do it well. You want to do it like fully. You go feet in, like straight in. You don't sort of hold back. You don't sort of do something half-heartedly. You really go all in.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it drives my husband a little bit nuts because I also just always have this belief that everything's going to work out. I mean, not everything in the world does, but when I decide to like take on something new, something in my DNA makeup just says to me, this is going to be amazing. You don't have an ounce of experience, but this is going to be so good. And I'm quite lucky, I think, that I have that because, yeah, I am able to throw 100% into everything that I do. So, yeah.
I'm glad that I partnered up with you then, because if everything works out for you, like
Yeah,
I'm
we've
sorry,
got
I'm well
this.
happy with that. Exactly. Sure. So when we first met, it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? We met through people trying to help other people sort of set up a business in a way, wasn't it? But really,
Yes.
the thing that we were on wasn't really aimed at either of us. It was for people that were like
No.
nomads that were trying to live like anywhere. But at the time that it was really hard to find things that were actually relevant to what we were doing. So at that point,
Exactly.
you had set up a YouTube channel with your dog Lincoln.
Yes.
So you've got some
Yes.
extensive knowledge in the YouTube world, haven't you? So your YouTube channel was pretty crazy, right? So you did pretty well with it, but your first viral video is an interesting one and sort of takes us full circle, actually, because we were talking about Goop earlier.
Yes. So my first YouTube video went viral, which is quite insane. So basically, I was working as a chef on a super yacht, the big, like, multi-million-dollar yacht.
Yeah.
And I had this guest. She had come on with her son. but we were docked, so we weren't out at sea. We were, at this house, and I was serving them lunch, and she was like, "Oh, we got to go to this stupid concert later." And I was like, "Oh, what concert?" Like trying to be like all professional, and she was like, "Coldplay," and my heart just started palpitating because I've been a huge fan of Coldplay since I was like, well, since Yellow, like most people,
Yeah.
and I was trying to be cool, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome! Like, wow, you're going to see Coldplay." And she was like, "Oh, I just don't really want to go." And I was like, "Why? It'll be amazing! Like, come on!" And I walked away, and I was like, "What's wrong with this woman? Like, why wouldn't she want to go to this concert?" And like an hour or so later, she came up to me and she was like, "Listen, I'm not into this. You clearly love Coldplay. Here's my tickets." And so I was like, and this is another thing where it's everything's going to work out. I had never driven on the left-hand side of the road. I'd never driven in the States before. And I had to drive from Fort Lauderdale to downtown Miami.
How far's that?
Oh, it's like 45 minutes. But
Oh,
if
wow.
anybody's ever driven in Miami, you'll know like Miami is a pretty scary place to drive.
Yeah, I
But I was
bet.
like, it'll be fine. We'll just do this. And I couldn't get anyone to go with me to the concert. And I was like, that's fine. I'm just going to go. And off I went to the concert. And in the middle of the concert, there was sort of like a downtime where they weren't actually performing any of their songs. They were just sort of strumming some chords, which is key because of copyright and stuff. And Chris Martin started
Mm.
running through the arena. And I just hit record on my camera for some reason. Just thought, well, I wonder what he's doing. And he ran across the arena through the crowd and up, like directly opposite me, and he kissed Gwyneth Paltrow. And Gwyneth Paltrow had security all around, and all the people around them were like turned around with their phones and their cameras and stuff. And the security were shining flashlights in their phones so that they couldn't record it. But
Ah.
where I was, I just had like the perfect angle. And this was at a time when they hadn't been photographed together in years. And there was a lot of speculation about their marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I tried to upload it onto Facebook just to show my friends and family, hey, look at this. Like I saw Chris Martin and Gwyneth
Yeah.
Paltrow. And Facebook wouldn't let me upload it for some reason. Thanks, Facebook. So I put it on YouTube. And I remember this day so clearly. I was still working and doing my thing. And I came back and I had something like 400 emails. And I was like, what? And it was
What?
TMZ, Good Morning America, like all of them. And I had a email from YouTube as well saying, we need to monetize this. This is going viral. What was viral in those days? Now it's probably
Yeah.
not so viral. But yeah, at the time, if you Googled Chris Martin kisses Gwyneth Paltrow, every single page on Google was my video, which was, yeah, it was crazy. And I did an interview on Good Morning America, like saying my perspective of what happened. It was crazy. And then I felt quite bad because I felt like I had violated their privacy as well.
Yeah.
But I put it out there, and without knowing, had I known, I would have made
Yeah.
so much more money because TMZ or
Now you
someone
do
like that
see
would have
everything is a
bought it
learning
from me.
experience, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
put
I
yourself
did
out
make
there, you went anywhere, you just decided to go, you rock up, you
yeah,
decide to record something, you think, oh, I'll just record that thing.
yeah.
And then you end up doing interviews on TV, which, like, I mean,
I know. It
who would
was
have thought that that
crazy.
would be like preparing you for the future that you were going to have?
I know, just so insane. And then, from that success on YouTube, I did make significant amount of money from that video. I kept thinking, I need to do something else on YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
this is an easy way to make money because for me, it was easy, but came to learn. Unless you've got two celebrities caught up in a lot of gossip, it's not that easy. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
work. So, yeah, I had a gorgeous little English bulldog called Lincoln and started Lincoln's World, and that was my YouTube channel. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then that sort of ended. And then how did we get to chocolate?
So the YouTube channel ended when, unfortunately, my dogs passed away. It's hard to have a YouTube channel about your dogs if you don't have any dogs. Um,
Slightly tricky, yeah.
and yeah, it was a bit tricky. I still go on there from time to time to like talk to the subscribers because the community that I built on there was amazing, and
Yeah.
I've always felt a lot of love from them, and they've always been like really supportive. So I do still post on there sometimes. Um, then I started working in a hotel, and I won't go through the whole details of it, but I got to a point where I was front of house manager of the hotel, and we were working a wedding one day. It was very, very busy, and we were short staffed. And I jumped behind the bar, which was not something I did very often. And I was serving a guest, and it'll always stick with me. I grabbed a bottle of J2O, the orange one, and
Yeah.
when I went to open it, the neck of the bottle broke on the opener and went into my hand. And I was rushed off to hospital, had surgery, what have you. And the hotel that I worked for was actually quite a toxic environment, and they didn't treat me very well.
Right.
At the time of my hand injury, like I think a decent company would have been like, "How can we support you? This happened on our premises." Unfortunately for me, none of that happened, and I got quite anxious and quite depressed. And I was just thinking to myself, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. Like, yeah, I've got to accept that I now have this hand injury, and I've got to find a way to move forward. And I have another side business with a pastry chef who is phenomenal. And I sent him a message and said, "Hey, like, can I please come and do a chocolate making course with you? Like, I'm not doing so good." And he said, "Come." And it was me and two little old ladies that are retired, and they just go on courses just to have something to do for the day. So for them, it was
Yeah.
just like, and I
Maybe
was
they're
that
collecting certificates.
I think they are. They definitely are. And
See,
I
you're
was
in
like
good
that.
company.
I was that nerdy, geeky teacher's pet at the front, like, pick me, pick me, pick me. And I just had like the most amazing day. And when I left, Damien had put a box together for me. And he said, "Now you have everything you need to go home and start making chocolates," which was incredibly kind and generous of him. And I just started making chocolates every day. And then I started making chocolates for friends. And then I started working for Damien actually. And then I decided to go on my own because, if you've got 5 months experience, why not?
Absolutely. And your chocolates are pretty special though, right? Like they're not your standard bog standard chocolate, are they? I mean, like the bonbons that you make look like
Yeah,
pieces of art. I mean, like it must have taken a long time to be able to like hone that skill to be able to get them looking like that, right?
I think the look of the bonbons has actually become very like easy for me. Not easy,
Yeah.
but that's probably the easiest part for me. And if you had asked me like 2 years ago, I would have said to you, I'm not creative at all. This, I think I was always looking for some kind of a creative outlet, and chocolate just
Mm.
seems to be it for me. And I'll come up with an idea in my head of a design, and I'm not saying like every time I try something it's perfect, but that's the part that I really, really love. And that's the part that I have found the easiest. It's all the technical stuff that I've had to practice and really work at. So, but
So
yeah.
can you go into that a bit about what the parts are that you find really difficult then?
Well, now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm a lot better at it, obviously.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, making sure that the chocolate was tempered correctly,
Mm.
making sure that all my flavors are spot on. I am lactose intolerant, so that's a little challenge that I have to work with. Uh, and then, my hand is another one that throws a span in the works because I have less than 30% use of this hand. Um, but yeah, just practice. I think if you're passionate about something, you have no choice but to be good at it because you do put your heart and soul into it. And I dream about chocolate. I literally dream about designs, and I'll wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get in the kitchen and try that." I'm always thinking about chocolate. I'm always working on it. So many hours of practice has gone into it. So now I'm at a quite a comfortable stage of making it. But yeah, the beginning learning curve was quite big.
Yeah, I mean, I dream about chocolate as well, but I'm not making it. You have sent me some.
Yes, I
So
have.
I literally got a box today. I've got a bone to pick with you though, right? The card says, "Dear Emma and John." What?
Well, it's just being polite. I thought he needed to be added on somehow.
Share.
No, no, no. The card. Just share
And
the card.
John. I mean, but I mean, this is a classic you though, isn't it? I mean, like the level of detail that the box is. I mean, we are recording a video here, so I can see on the video. I probably will share this somewhere, but look, this is the box. But I mean, it is pretty incredible, like the box itself. I mean, it's a really lovely like card box. It's green with your gold gilded kind of lettering and stuff on the front of it. And then you open the box and it's like each one, it's like, I mean, they look sort of like galaxies. That's what I would say. Not the galaxy of chocolate, as in the sky. And they're all different. So you've got some interesting flavors as well. I mean, espresso caramel is, I'm all over that, right? And the cheesecake. John's a bit funny about fruity, chocolatey things, which I tell you now is my game.
Good. Then you don't have to share those ones.
No, exactly. But I mean, did it take you a long time to sort out packaging and like things like that and getting all of those sort of ducks in a row? Because it's not just about making the chocolate, right? I mean, you've also got the boxes themselves, and so you've got one of your old boxes.
Yeah, I've got one of my old boxes. I'm actually keeping a scrapbook of the evolution of my business. So the logo that you're seeing on the box now is not the original logo, and I've only been going since November. I had another logo done, and then I was like, nah, this doesn't fit with where I want to go. So my initial box are these, they're white and they're very textured. They are very beautiful, but just with the label on the middle with my, all my details. And I was like, you know what? I'm trying to be luxury high end. This is nice, but it's not that.
It's not. Like, no,
there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, and with the packaging and stuff, I get a very clear idea in my head of what I want, and then I can't put it into practice because I don't know how to do design work so well. So I do have a designer that I work with, and I probably drive her absolutely crazy because I'll be like, that font needs to be half a point bigger. This needs to be moved to the left. I'm very, very particular about making sure that, everything's exactly how I envision. But yeah, I'm very excited. This is my new packaging. I haven't even launched it on my own website yet. But yeah, no, because
I've got one.
This is the last box of this one that I have, and this is actually being posted out tomorrow morning. So this is the final.
That's it. Done.
And then it's the new era of Levoco. And the other thing about my packaging is it's all completely compostable, which was really important to me because I want to work towards sustainability, and my bars and everything is plastic free. You can put everything in your garden and let it compost. So, and that was, as I said,
that's really good. Definitely. Yeah. So the boxes themselves, where are you getting those from? Did it take you a long time to find a person to actually produce them, that kind of thing?
So it's actually a bizarre story as well. I got an email the one day from a chocolatier that was retiring after like 25 years of being in the business, and they said, we're selling all of our equipment. Is there anything that you're interested in? And sent me like a list of everything. And I was like, not really. And I was like, do you have any like tips on packaging? And he was like, well, I actually have custom made boxes, and I have about 1,700 of them left over. They're plastic free. And I was like, and I said to him, please send me one. Let me make sure that my bonbons look okay in there. And so he sent me one, and I bought all of them. And he has a supplier based in Melksham, I believe, in Wiltshire, who was making his boxes for him, and he just did the introduction and said, "We've sold the boxes to her. She'll now be ordering." So yeah, but I do have 1,700 boxes. I don't think I'll be ordering for a while.
No.
And
then the
then
wraps that you've got.
yeah, so the wraps, that was just a lot of time spent looking online, looking at what other people are doing. I came across a woman, a woman chocolatier that I really admire. Her name's Kate Weiser in the States. And I saw one of her sleeves. Hers is very white, which I love. I absolutely love white. But one thing I've found with my white boxes is being at markets and stuff, they would get a little bit dirty, just from being on the table or being wherever. And yeah, so I thought I needed a color that complements the gold and went with the green. And then I knew I wanted all the flavors and everything on the back just to cut down on how much printing, because previously with the other box, I would have a flavor card that went with it. Whereas now everything is on here, the allergens, the flavors, all in one. So yeah, and then just went to my local printer who I've got a really good relationship with and was like, this is my vision. Can you do it? Can you make it fit precisely? So basically my designer did the artwork on the front and the back, and they made the template actually to make sure, and they fit really, really well. So yeah, everything's bespoke.
But you're not having to buy those in like massive quantities, right?
No. So the funny thing about that, because these are gold foiled and laminated, they can only do small runs of them. And I'm like, that's great. So I have 50 of them now. And because they're just down the road, I just have to call them up and say, hey, do me another 20, do me another 50. So
that's really nice. So that if you want to make a change, I guess, to it, then you can make those changes. You realize you've made a typo.
Exactly.
You've not got 1,700 of them.
Exactly.
But you're still getting the look that you want from the beginning, from the get-go, and that people are going to recognize your brand and associate your brand with being that high-end luxury
exactly
from the beginning.
Yeah. The other thing that the reason why I wanted to do it this way, so I'm already planning Christmas, because you know what Christmas is like. So it'll be the same, but it's going to be bright red with the Christmas flavors on the back.
Love that idea.
This I can make seasonal as long as it goes with this color of the box. Can change it as much as you want. Do a bright summery one next year. Yeah, it's very adaptable, which I love.
So at the moment, you've got in the box, we've got hazelnut, lemon cheesecake, espresso caramel, spiced ginger, cinnamon bonbon. Cinnamon bun.
Like cinnamon bun.
I don't know why I couldn't read that. And coconut, which I mean, they do look incredible. They are amazing.
Thank you.
So what are you thinking for Christmas, that kind of thing? Because I mean, is it a more seasonal business anyway?
I've found so far that you've got to hit your major holidays. The ones that you have now are the ones that I was lucky enough to win the awards for. So I think these ones will stay in rotation all the time, because every flavor has an award. For Christmas, I'm going to go for the more traditional, like, cherries, and now I can't think of anything Christmas related, but I
think we were talking about Biscoff the other day, weren't we? Because I'm slightly obsessed with Biscoff, and you're saying that's Christmas, and I feel it should be year round.
Peppermint candy cane is my other one I'm going to do.
Yeah. Okay, well, send me a box when you're ready. Taste test. I'm there for you. Okay, so you casually just dropped in there that every one of your chocolates is award winning. So I think we need to rewind a little minute and come over. Like, just sort of like, oh yeah, and they're all award winning. I mean, what?
So it's kind of a crazy story. So I started my business in November, and in December I was at a market, and a judge came up to me and said, you need to enter these awards because these are amazing. And this goes back to my, it'll all work out. I told my husband about it, and he was like, oh, honey, like, you've just started. I don't know if this is such a good idea. And I was like, no, I'm going for it. And so basically they said to me, if you enter the whole box of bonbons. If they don't like one flavor, you could miss out on an award. So I thought, well, I'll enter each bonbon as a separate category.
Right.
And the funny thing about it was the day before I found out, we were driving with my husband, and he was like, my I have to say, my husband is extremely supportive. This next story is going to sound like he's not, but he is wholeheartedly supportive of me. But we were driving, and he was like, babe, like, I think sometimes like you go too hard in, and maybe you should have waited like a year or two before you entered the awards, because I think you've done it too soon, and I just hope you're not setting yourself up for a disappointment. And I'm not kidding you. The next day, I got an email, and I actually had to phone her because I couldn't understand that all of them had won. I was
Really?
like, I was hoping for one. And I came out and I said to my husband, "Do you still think I should have waited a couple of years about the awards?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." And I was like, "Well, I won 4 gold and 2 silver." And he was
In your
like,
face,
"What?"
Henry.
He was like, "What?" Yeah. And then he said to me afterwards, he said, this goes back to the fact that I always have this everything's going to be great attitude about life,
Mm.
and I think a lot of people maybe would have waited. And I just, not to say that I was sure I was going to win or anything like that, but I was like, maybe I'll get one. And if I get one, it's going to boost my business. And look what
Yeah.
happened. I got 6 and I was in the paper twice, and it really boosted my business. So,
It's
yeah,
interesting though, because I think a lot of people would have felt, have that imposter syndrome and think, well, I've only been going since November. I mean, like, I've
I
been going
do
two
have it.
months. 2 months.
I do
Do
have it.
you? I mean, do
I,
you though?
yeah, I do. I honestly
Really?
do. Yeah, I actually recorded a YouTube video about this a couple weeks ago, and then I got such bad imposter syndrome I didn't post it. But yeah, I have said to my husband, I was like, I have imposter syndrome. I feel like I don't deserve these. And I've spoken to my aunt about it. My aunt was like, you work so hard,
Mm.
leading up to sending the chocolates in for judging. I literally was working like 16, 17 hours a day, like making sure that everything was perfect, that the bonbons were perfect. So yeah, I'm trying to be kinder to myself and like remind myself that, yeah, maybe I've only been going a short period of time, but I have worked really, really hard at it. Yes, a lot of it has also been luck. It was luck that that woman came up to me and said, "Hey, you should enter."
Yeah.
I was in the right place at the right time when that happened. Um, but yeah, no, I do have imposter syndrome a lot.
So do you think you would have tried to find an award to apply to? Or you think you probably would have missed this round and maybe have gone for it next time or something?
I probably would have gone for it next time.
Yeah.
But I think having a judge come up to me and say that, and weirdly enough, this has
Yeah.
happened to me twice now. I've had another judge from the Great Taste Awards come up to me at a market, and she was like, "Next year you have to enter because I missed this year." But having a judge come up to me and say that to me really gave me a bit of confidence. And then I always have Damien, who is my mentor, and I spoke to him about it. And before I even entered them, I actually sent him a box and was like, "Please just like tell me exactly what you think." So getting, that feedback from him, from the
Yeah.
judge, yeah, that definitely helped. But
And I guess
I did feel a bit sick after I sent it in. I was like, who do I think I am doing this?
yeah, because there's people
But
that have been doing it for
if you don't
years and
try,
still haven't. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got to put yourself out there. And I think that's something that like a lot of small business owners particularly struggle with is
yeah,
you sometimes want to do something, but you think, oh, I'm not good enough, or I haven't got enough experience, or like other people will think this of me, and I think that's very difficult sometimes to get over um that hurdle and just sort of go for it anyway.
definitely, yeah. You have to just stop caring what anybody else is thinking. I heard this somewhere, podcast or
Mm,
blog. Like I said to you the other day, I'm always reading up on parenting stuff. And it said, you're only the star of your own show. in everybody else's show, you're like the extras. So people are not thinking about you
Yeah.
as much as you are thinking about you.
No.
And thinking about that a lot has helped me to just be like, okay, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And the only people whose opinions really matter are the people that are closest to me. So, yeah.
The judges then came round at one of the markets that you were doing. So you're doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these at the moment, right?
Yes. I've just slowed down on them. I've just made the decision to slow down. But yes, I have been doing a lot of markets.
And how have you found that experience? I mean, like, was it expensive in the first place to set up and have all of your things ready to do the market in the first place? Are there a lot of things that you had to get, ducks in a row to be able to even start doing that?
Well, I started in November, and one thing I can say is if you want to feel like you're really successful, start in November because, everybody's spending money for Christmas. And also, you don't have to think about things like gazebos because most of the markets are going to be indoors. And so the first few that I did, they were indoors, tables and chairs were provided. So all I had to do was like figure out how I was going to display my stuff and obviously make enough stuff. And I can remember the first one being really scared because people had said to me, there's going to be like 4,000 people at this market. How much do you make? How much stuff do you take with you? Because you're also running the risk of now being left with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's different if you are selling something that doesn't have a shelf life to it, but I did. And my best friend said to me, she was like, take your table cost and times it by 10. That's how much you should make. And I
That's
was
a
like,
really
oh,
interesting piece of advice, actually.
yeah.
And did
And
that pan out?
yeah, well, I made more than 10 times because I was like, it's going to be amazing. And it was amazing. Like the first day that I did, I came out and then I was like, I'm going to be so rich. But it's like a false economy because it was November and, not every market has 4 to 5,000 people at it.
No.
But yeah, November and December I did really, really well. And then yeah, I didn't start doing outdoor markets till about the end of March because, I'm African and I don't like the cold. And then it was, getting a gazebo. And that's a whole other minefield as well, because a lot of the markets will charge you your pitch fee based on the size of your gazebo. I did not know that. So anything over 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters is one price. But if you can fit into a 2 meter, you're at like the lowest price that
Oh,
there is.
okay.
So yeah, so I do Bridport Market quite often. I do it every Saturday that I'm available. And the difference between the 2 meter and the 2.5 meters, you're paying £15 per pitch or £22.50 per pitch. Now, it doesn't sound like a huge difference, but if you do that 100 times in a year, that's a lot
Yeah,
of money. So
absolutely. So you got any advice for people that are thinking about doing their first market?
just do it. Don't sit on the fence. You are going to want to change a million things after you've done your first one. The first one does not have to be perfect. Just use it as a learning experience. The other thing I would say is when you're at a market, talk to as many people as you can. I'm not saying customers, talk to other vendors. My very first one I went at, the woman that was next to me, she ended up writing me out a list of all the good markets to do with email addresses and so many tips and tricks. Every time I go to a market, I learn incredible things from the people around me. The other thing I would say is buy from the people around you as well, because it's a good way to meet people for one thing, and also it comes back. People will
Yeah.
remember that you bought from them. And then when they're thinking of buying a gift, they'll go, oh, there was that girl, she bought from me. So yeah, I think that's one of the best parts of doing markets is meeting the other vendors.
Yeah. And I guess
It's a nice
learning
little
from them
community. Yes.
and
And a
exchanging
lot
that.
of
And
us,
also promotion too, right?
of course, a lot of small businesses like yourself and myself, we're always alone. We're always doing everything alone, and it's
Mm.
overwhelming at times. It can be daunting. You know, we don't get to like go and be in an office with lots of people and socialize and interact. And
Yeah.
humans are supposed to interact a lot. So for me, I use the markets. This is my time to go and chat to people and have that like working experience. And I've made amazing friends doing it as well.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective, because it can be really lonely when you're just working on your own all the time and you've not got anyone else,
Yeah.
and you literally, the only person you have to talk to in a day is your other half, and that's it.
Yeah. And they get a bit bored after a while, don't they?
Yeah, and you're like, did I tell you that one thing that happened today? Because like nothing else has happened.
Let me tell you about the caramel I made today, honey.
Yeah. So in terms of Christmas, do you think
Yeah.
people need to be booking in how far in advance do you reckon really to get into the good markets? Do you need to be booking in to get your pitch?
So mine are already booked. I booked January, February, which that's the other thing.
Wow.
That's a big outlay of money because obviously when you have to apply for a lot of markets, you don't just book it. You
Right.
apply for them, and when they accept you and say yes, you can be there, you have to pay for your pitch. And some of them, like maybe you're paying £130 for the 2 days. If you're doing 6 markets and you're paying £100, it definitely adds up. So I would try and start in November like I did. I was very lucky. I don't know. I actually don't even know how it happened because the first one that I did that was so big, I emailed her and said, "Hey, do you have any space?" And she was like, "Somebody has just cancelled. Here you go. You can have a
Right.
pitch."
So it's
And the
worth
same thing happened.
asking, even if you think places are
Yes,
like fully booked. Right.
absolutely. And the other really big one I did just before Christmas, the exact same thing happened. And it was another vendor, a photographer, who said to me, "Try get in here. I think it's fully booked, but really try get in here." And she also said to me, "I've just had a cancellation. If you pay today, you can have that spot." So yeah, it is definitely worth trying. And then save up some money from your November, December months to pay for all the ones for the next year. That's what I would
Oh,
say.
that's really good
But
advice.
the big, well-run ones will they will be planning it beginning of the year, January, February, March by the latest, I would say.
Oh, that's really, really helpful for sure. Because I actually haven't done any markets myself. So I haven't really got the experience of that side of things. I mean, I used to run events, so I do know sort of how that side of things. But
Yeah.
I haven't as a craft business, I've not actually done a market myself. So it's really interesting to hear what your advice would be, having done so
Yeah.
many of them now.
Yeah. I'm a dab hand at them now.
Mm,
Yeah. The other thing too is you want to try and visualize your store and you want to think what's going to make me stand out, what's going to make people go, wow, that's different,
mm,
and will draw people in. So for myself at the markets, I actually have like a wall shelf that's in a circle. It's a circular wall
yeah.
shelf. It's very unusual. It's very pretty. And I put the boxes of bonbons on there. So as people are walking, it's sort of like aimed at them. And so many people will go, "Oh, wow, that's really pretty." And they might not buy,
Mm,
but I've stopped them in their tracks and at least I'm getting some interaction from them, which is good.
yeah. That's really interesting. So looking forward from here, you're still not the first year out at this point. You're like
No,
only what 8 months in, right? So
yeah.
where do you want Levoco to go?
So the plan that I have now, I mentioned briefly that I'm slowing down on markets now, is I'm going to really try and grow my stockists. So I'm currently in 2 shops. I've got a third one that I'm waiting for an order from. And my plan is to actually really work on that for the next few months and try and build that because some markets are really great. Some markets are obviously not so good. And but if you're in a shop and you've got those orders coming in all the time, that's like your bread and butter money, really.
Mm,
So I'm working on that. I'm doing a huge overhaul on my website at the moment so that it reflects my new packaging and where I see it going. I'm really targeting the high end luxury gift market. A lot of people don't buy my chocolates to eat them themselves, which I'm like, come on, we should all eat pretty chocolates. Most
Yeah.
people buy them as gifts. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just gonna grow the bonbon business and try and get more people stuck in my bars.
Yeah, I think you will not have a problem with that whatsoever.
Thank
So
you.
at the moment, where can people buy? Where can people find you?
So my social media is at levoco.chocolates and my website is www.levoco.co.uk.
Cool. And then they can find you in two shops at the moment as well.
Yeah, so I'm currently in Washington Farm Shop, which is in Bridport, and in Southwest Coast Refills in Weymouth. But
Wow.
watch the space because there's going to be more. There's going to
There
be
will
more.
be, of course, there's going to be more. There's going to be loads more. Well,
Yeah,
we were talking the other day actually how you met somebody who's just got stocked in Harrods. So I think you're going to be tapping up some contacts there, right? Can you imagine if you get your
definitely.
chocolate stocked in Harrods?
That would be insane.
What do you
But
think Henry will
I
say?
think
I think maybe you're going a bit too early.
I think Henry would be thrilled at that. But I think I
Yeah,
did mention to you, the guy who got stopped in Harrods, what an amazing person. So like eager to share his experience and his information with me. And I just asked him questions. The poor guy, for about 5 hours, I was asking him questions. And a great tip that he gave me with stockists is look at other local businesses around you, like small businesses, go on their website. And if they have a stockist bank, have a look at that and see who they're supplying because that cuts out a lot of groundwork for you. You know where to go with your product and try and get in there.
that's great advice. So speaking of advice, is there something that you wish that you'd known sooner, but you wish somebody had told you like a bit of advice that you or acted upon even sooner?
I think the one thing that I saw was that I wish I had seen earlier was have faith in your product. It's not your product that needs to change, it's how you market it and get it out there. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I need to add this, I need to make another this, I need new bars, I need to add loads of products to suit people's needs. And you don't have to. If you have faith in your product exactly as it is, you don't need to worry about what anybody else wants or what they're doing. Just get the word out there with what you've actually got and don't try and spread yourself too thin with lots of different products.
I think that's really, really good advice actually, because I think sometimes people say, and we used to find this all the time, people when we had the bike shops and stuff, and they'd say, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. It's like they don't really necessarily understand what the commercial reasons are of why you have or haven't done that thing. And you
Yeah,
can't just do everything. You can't spread yourself that thin. For one, financially it is not possible to do everything and be
no.
everything to everyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, Laura, I really think you need to do the Biscoff chocolates. Okay, take
It's
that
coming.
advice on board.
Christmas. It's
But
coming. It's coming.
if you took everybody that had an idea for a different chocolate, I mean, you'd have hundreds. And then how much longer would it
Yeah,
take to make all of those? And then you've got to have different packaging and you've got to have, and it does become really complicated. So actually, sometimes I think you are right. You need to just take it back to like the basics, get the basics right and get how you're marketing that right and make sure that that aligns with what you've got. I mean, you've got really high-end products. I mean, we're talking obviously at the beginning about your packaging originally isn't quite what you thought and it was getting a little bit marked and things at markets. Now if you're buying a luxury box of chocolates, you don't want something that's marked, you want something that looks pristine because again most of your clients are buying it to give as a gift.
yeah,
You're not going to buy a gift that's got a load of scratches or little scuffs on it or anything. You want it to be
exactly.
pristine, and it is really important I think to keep that going. I think it's so easy to overlook that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think also attention to detail. You have to be
Yeah.
meticulous about everything. And yeah, I also think treating your customers like they're your friends and how you would want to be treated. I try and be very warm and caring towards all my customers, and I think I get a lot of repeat business here in Weymouth, which I'm really grateful for. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about your chocolates on Facebook and things like that in like the Weymouth group. I don't even know why I'm seeing that because I live nowhere near Weymouth. But in the Weymouth groups, people are like, oh, I got them for my auntie and she loves them. Oh, they're the most delicious. They are my favourite chocolates. And it's just like, wow, you are doing really, really well.
Thank you. I actually have a funny anecdote about that as well. So I posted in the Weymouth group just yesterday, and this is just an anecdote on why you should never respond to negativity. Somebody commented on my post, not saying anything about my chocolates, but coming up with a debate as to why we should buy chocolates for teachers, and turned it into a very negative sort of situation. And I saw it and I thought, I don't like this. I'm not sure what to do about this. I didn't have to do anything because my customers did. My
Wow.
customers all came on and commented and said, these are the best chocolates we've ever had. It's just a local business trying to make money. And that was just so heartwarming to sort of witness
Amazing.
and see. And I was like, I didn't even have to say anything,
Yeah.
it
You
was
don't have to
great.
go down to their level. You just
No,
wait it out and just, yeah, they'll come through for you. That's pretty
yeah,
incredible, really.
yeah, it was a very cool experience actually.
Especially so
Anyway,
quickly. I mean, you haven't really been going very long, really. And you've already
no,
built up this customer base that are so supportive. And people
they're
are
so
supportive, I
loyal.
think, of small businesses and
Yeah,
stuff. People want to buy from small business. They want to buy from people that they like.
for
And
sure.
you're very likable, actually, funnily enough. I
Oh,
quite like you. Oh,
thanks. You're gonna keep me.
I think we'll keep you. Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
We'll see how it goes.
yay. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think we put you on a trial run?
Oh
So I
gosh.
think we'll wrap it up there. Have you got any final words for anybody?
No, just go out there and just be unapologetically yourself, and it's all gonna work out.
Love that. Love that. Right. So I think we'll end it there on that note. If you would like to keep up in touch with us, we are Craft a Company. We're on all the social media platforms with that name. It's Craft TO Company. And we'll be back with the next episode where the roles will be reversed and Laura
I
will be
will be
interviewing
interviewing me.
me. Should I be
Yay.
nervous? Oh.
Oh, definitely. I've got the most embarrassing questions lined up for
Oh
you.
no. Ah! So tune in next time and you can hear that.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.